And we are live. A new We Gotta Believe is live and ready to rock. And it's getting a little hot right now, boys. It's getting a little warmer out. The spring is almost sprung, right? Is that
spring has sprung, my friend?
The Robins are out there right now. We have guys with numbers in the 70s, 80s, and 90s playing in the outfield and making a fool.
Are you bird watching them?
I am bird watching. I had 5 hawks just circling. So thoughts and prayers to the squirrels.
You know what?
Mice, rodents.
Speaking of watches, there's a little bit of news breaking at the moment as we record this, and I just don't think it can get any worse for the big bad New York Yankees, the broke boys across town who are now going to be exposed as the cheaters that we all have always known they've been. From steroids and signs and everything in between, the Yankees have been cheating forever. I can't sit here and tell you that it bothers me or I'm offended by it. I want my team to cheat just as much. I thought we should have kept Beltran, and I thought we should have had our own garbage cans and sign-stealing electronic fucking devices. But the cardinal rule of cheating is you can't get caught. And whatever the Yankees have in this letter that they have been, like, bending over backwards to keep sealed, you would think that they're going to be on the fucking Epstein flight log the way that they're fighting. At this point, I'm actually expecting the news to be a letdown because they've made, I mean, we're going to like the U.S. fucking Congress appeals or whatever the fuck to get it unsealed. And I'm pretty sure it's just going to say they were doing what the Astros were doing, which, don't get me wrong, is a black eye, but it almost makes you wonder. I'm getting my hopes up that there's something more in there. But we all have heard about this, famous letter, and Levine and company have fought for years to keep it hidden. And now it sounds like it's going to be unsealed. On top of that, Hal Steinbrenner has just transformed into Jeff Wilpon. Yep. And I'm not even trying to troll. I'm not even trying to needle Yankee fans. That's just a fact. All the things that he's saying, all of the verbiage, all of the one-liners, all the stuff that they say now is exactly what Jeff Wilpon would say. They're always in on some guy or kicking the tires or talking to, and they make some offer that was never going to get accepted in the first place, and then they tell you about the prospects that are coming while they financially get their books in order. That's exactly what the Mets did for 30 straight years. Get you hyped up for prospects who are either years away or at their very best case scenario, are going to be as good as the free agents that are available right now at a time when you are allegedly a championship contender with your window wide open. I don't know why you'd be worried about prospects right now, you fucking idiots. And somehow, dumbass Yankee fans, maybe the ones that have never seen a World Series and have grown up like fucking paupers, are worried about prospects now, and they should be worried about winning World Series, and they miss on a historic free agency class, get nothing when they had several needs to fill, all with those players available. And all we're hearing about is the next prospects coming down the line several years from now. All we're hearing about is luxury tax concerns, and we got to make sure we're financially in good shape. We're hearing a Steinbrenner say directly, we don't have the same budget as the Mets. And then on top of all that, you just got caught cheating. Yep. You're going to be, and you're in the AL East where everyone is either already good or loading up. Good Lord. It is a dark time to be a Yankee fan.
Just a bad luck. You cheated. You couldn't win a damn thing.
Yeah, that's the worst part of it. At least the Astros got it done.
Yep.
KFC's coming in hot. He was just in Boston over the weekend. The KFC radio show, the home of Yankee hatred. The Mets Sox connection was never stronger. A fuck the Yankees chant broke out. And I said, we're going to start off the top with outside of Mets news, even though we got a couple of things from over the weekend. And I mean, it's honestly, it's Wilpon bingo, right? It's like, told you're kicking the tires on the guy, cross that one off. Watch, one of or multiple guys go to teams that you'll be competing with, cross that one off. The prospect down the road that's going to save the day and now has already an impossible task in front of them, that much harder, where a bunch of millions of New Yorkers are to expect this guy to be like Carlos Correa day one, cross that one off. And then, sign some guy that has just like the name that just makes your skin crawl when you hear it. And Marwin Gonzalez is this year's fucking champion for that. And this is coming from
that and the Trevor Story news. It was like Trevor Story signs with the Red Sox. Yankees signed Marwin Gonzalez the same exact time.
Absurd.
Perfect. Like, I can't even believe John Heyman and those guys take the time to tweet those things. I guess they know. They're like, oh, this is going to pop off because Trevor Story just signed with the Red Sox. I mean, there is no way around it. And I do have to give credit to Tommy Smokes. He's the only Yankee fan in the world who is ever honest about what's going on. The other Yankee fans who are like, we spent $250 million. What are you talking about? Well, two things. First of all, $200 million ain't what it used to be. $300 million is the new $200 million. So don't hang your hat on that. Second of all, it's a poorly spent $250 million team. It's poorly constructed. It's the same thing it's been for the past several years, which hasn't worked, and it's only getting older and worse. So that's not good either. And the point is, this was like, you had a golden era of shortstops to pick from. You could fill every hole you needed, and you just didn't do it because of money. And you said as much openly, talking about budgets and capabilities and mentioning Cohen and the Mets. It's as dark as it fucking gets. And there's two types of hype with prospects in my mind. There's real hype when someone's close and ready to go, and they're going to come in and make a difference. And there is the let's manipulate our fans, hype this guy's name up. He doesn't cost us anything. We'll convince them that we've got the next Jeter, and they'll stop talking about the fact that there are good shortstops right fucking now. By the way, you can sign a guy and still have a prospect. I mean, baseball now, it'll be a couple more years before your guy actually comes up. The guy you sign is probably gonna have an opt-out, or you just never fucking matter anymore in baseball. Just play guys wherever they can because they got a big bat. There is no why the Yankees should be precluded from signing guys right now when they have guys like Judge on their last year and guys in their prime and people in win now mode because of prospects that are 20 years old right now. It's fucking
and just to
crazy.
Just to rub salt in the wound, Trevor Story goes to the Red Sox and changes his position for a 6-year contract, and it's like, what the fuck were you thinking? What were you doing? Because you look at Didi with the Phillies. No Yankee fan wanted to get rid of him at the time. They were like, he was a seamless transition from Jeter, the most perfect scenario you could have had, and you let that guy walk, and then they haven't had a stable shortstop since.
Well, Didi's also terrible in Philly too, but that's another story.
Yeah, but it was working like as at least a stopgap in New York as far as the fans. Like, I remember thinking whoever steps into Jeter's shoes is gonna be fucked. And Didi did a nice job as far as like they like him, you know. But yeah, and then I mean on top of it, you know, you're dealing with the Jays, the Sox, and the Rays. It's like things are gonna get real ugly real fast in the Bronx if they didn't. I mean, I guess there's really no more moves to make, so that's kind of they're just gonna roll into the season with what they've got. And the real icing on the cake, it kind of happened in the reverse order, but the icing on the cake for me is the fact that the Twins just played them like a fucking fiddle. The fact that they dumped the money and used the Yankees and then came up with a contract that, you know, people are like, oh, the Yankees, like, how could the Yankees have known that Carlos Correa would sign a deal like that? Like, I don't know. Guys like Trevor Bauer have been signing short-term, high annual value, opt-out clause type of contracts. That's not so far-fetched anymore that shouldn't be able to concoct that idea. It wasn't like that fucking revolutionary.
Yeah, I'll say this. When I woke up and saw the Correa news, it happened like 2 a.m. the one night I actually ended up like sleeping before that. I wake up and see, Carlos Correa to the Twins. That's the most shocking free agent signing I think I've ever seen, though. Not really so much the contract, just like the team he ended up on. Like, that's going to look so weird.
That's some Game of Thrones shit, too.
That's also the thing about this free agent year is that everybody changed teams, right? Like basically like nobody, none of the big guys like stuck around with their original team. So everything's going to look different except for the lineup in the Bronx. And it's going to be a fucking tough division. Now, I just want to say this, as much shit as I'm talking, because a lot of people are whenever I talk shit about how bad the Yankees offseason has been, then compare it to where the Mets are going to end up. No delusions over here about what the Mets are. I don't think the Mets are winning the World Series this year. I mean, they're in one of the fucking best divisions now with the way the Phillies have loaded up. Obviously, the Braves, the defending champs, and still loaded. The Dodgers are like going to potentially be an all-time great team. I'm just talking about here in New York for the first time ever, the direction things are headed for both teams It is truly like a complete flip-flop. I don't think the Mets get it done this year. I think there's a chance that they could be in fucking third place with the rest of this division. But the fact that we know this is how Cohen's going to operate for years to come, and we know where the Yankees are headed, it's going to only get worse from here for Yankee fans and better for Mets fans if things continue on the way it is now. So I'm in it for the long haul, and I think the long haul is going to be a lot worse in the Bronx.
Yeah, and again, that was some Game of Thrones shit. They get IKF from the Rangers, then the next day move him, and with Donaldson's contract to then free up the money for Correa. And and like you said, seeing the Yankees do all these moves is crazy, but then seeing the Yankees fans defend all those moves, just like we did back in the day. This is coming from someone who was abused. I'm telling you guys, they do not care about you. And like, there is a consistent thing between, like you said, Jeff Wilpon, James Dolan, Hal Steinbrenner. These are not the guys that built their families. They are the guys that came out of the nutsack of the guys that built their families, and they're not the guys. Spoon. Yeah, and sometimes those guys can like be like the next, like the guys who like inherit it. Everything you heard about Hal Steinbrenner was like they didn't want any part of this. Hal and Hank never really wanted, like they liked probably being George's kids, but they were never like going to be the next baseball guys. And like I don't know, just from looking from afar, I still can't believe Aaron Boone is the manager. That was the first sign. It's like, what the fuck are you guys doing here? Aaron Boone becoming the manager, staying the manager, nuts.
The fact that Boone's the manager, Cashman's the GM, basically nothing has changed offensively. It's like, I mean, I guess you have to think of it like, let's say your dad owned a business and killed it, but it's just in an industry you don't really give a fuck about, and you inherited it, and you were just like, I just want to fucking make money off this thing. I don't give a about it. That's what it feels like with the Steinbrenner sons and the Yankees. It's just like they don't have any interest in it. I don't think they're embarrassed. I don't think they care. They don't give a shit about Mets fans. I don't give a shit about Yankee fans. It's just an investment for them. So buckle up, because we did that for about 30 years, and it's not fun.
Yeah, like,
in true Mets fashion, they said that this letter is going to get unsealed in 2 weeks. So it's going to coincide with opening day for them. And then Judge is going to have to sit up there on the fucking press conference stand and convince people that he didn't know they were cheating after he crushed Altuve for years because he lost the MVP vote to him. And they're going to be like, what do you have to say now? And he's going to be like, I don't know. I wasn't aware.
That makes me think, man, just like everything else in life, the people who thump their chest the loudest and point the finger the most, the Rafael Palmeiros of the world, are always the ones. They're always the ones that have the skeletons. They're always the ones that are doing exactly what they're condemning. If we find out that Aaron Judge's fucking high horse sanctimonious ass was doing some Apple Watch shit, that dude needs to be fucking crushed.
I think it's a crucified.
He acted like Altuve like killed his children. He was like crying his eyes out about it. And if it's like a team-wide thing, oh boy. So wait, what exactly is do we know like what they were doing with the Apple Watches? Like
no idea. Something similar to what the Red Sox were doing, where it wasn't like as like detailed as like Astro scandal, but it still like was like you knew if you knew the signs, you could break it down.
Yeah.
Which again, I don't care about. I really don't, because like you said, the Red Sox have done it. I'm sure the Mets have done it, but it's the amount.
I hope we haven't done it, because we fucking sucked in the past. Like if we were cheating with like fucking 29 runs scored, there's a problem.
Yeah, if we were cheaters, we're the worst fucking team in the world. I don't care about the cheating. I encourage the cheating. I think
cheaters.
Push the fucking boundaries is an idiot, but you just can't be crying to the media about it when you or your teammates were doing it in your own fucking clubhouse.
Yeah. The official stance that we got to believe is we are all about cheating. Just fucking own it. Steve Cohen, Black Edge, the whole fucking thing about him getting rich, right? It's about fucking cheating and doing it right and not getting caught. And if you get caught, you don't go to jail for it. You just pay like the biggest SEC fine. We don't worry about that shit. And you keep making fucking money. You buy the Mets. You're going to go buy a fucking World Series. So that's the official stance here. And bring back Beltran. That's why I hope bring back Beltran.
He should encourage Robinson Cano and be like, if you get caught and you lose your contract, I'll just pay it like a fine. It's just like an SEC fine. Here you go, man. That's what he should be doing with Robinson. He should be doing with everybody. Everybody cheats, and if you lose money because of it, I will reimburse you. It's like an expense.
Yep, and one last thing about I'm on Fangraphs right now. They have the Yankees projected at 90.6 wins, so 90-91. Like that used to be like a bad season for the Yankees. Now that's your expectation. That just shows like back in my day, 91 wins would have been putrid, pathetic. Now it's like that's a good season.
Yep.
And I really feel like that's like, I mean, listen, there are still a lot of good players on that team. But there are several guys who have been there for a little while now and guys that are starting to age, and there's not much like new life in there. That's a team that like they could get – I just don't think there's much more upside. Like I could see it being worse than that, whereas I think like 91 is almost like, you know, towards their ceiling for a team that's just kind of like no new life, no new players, is Josh Donaldson going to be a fucking – like a catalyst? I don't know. It just doesn't. It's just not a very inspiring team if I'm a Yankee fan compared to what they're used to in the past.
Yeah, and also Fangraphs has us at 88.8 wins, which is like 3 behind the Braves. So we get to play the underdog card, and nobody believes in us now because Fangraphs doesn't believe in us.
The billionaire team is just a bunch of underdogs.
The $300 million scrappy underdogs. No one wants to give us a chance.
The little engine that could in Queens, baby. And everyone knows we're going 96 or above. I mean, that's the official statement.
Last year,
listen, we have the 96ers
in baseball too. So it's like you can never look at those things when it starts. If you would have told me last year that the Braves were winning the World Series without Ozuna and fucking Acuna Jr. and whoever else, and they're going to the whole route, it's just like whoever gets hot at the right time. And I mean, I hope that like down the road we get somebody at to bolster, and that's the whole reason why we're holding off on like the big cap spend to go over. But at the same time, it's like, to your point, the Yankees are holding out a locker space for Brett Gardner still. They have an empty locker in there in hopes of him being signed. If that's what you're going into the season with, pack it away.
Who's Brett Gardner for us? Who is like our Brett Gardner? Who is the guy that just like we couldn't get rid of the fucking guy, and we're just like, what are we doing here? Why? I guess it's Jose Reyes. Jose Reyes was playing third base for us on opening day, and we're like, how the fuck is this guy still here? He sucks. He's a scumbag, and he's like the fans openly hate him. Remember, we went to David Wright's last game, and it felt like it was the Jose Reyes and David Wright last game celebration. And I'm like, what planet are we living on? And that's an ownership thing. I feel like that goes from the top down. The Wilpons probably liked Reyes, and I'm sure Hal likes fucking Gardner.
And Brett Gardner's absolutely going to be one of these guys on the cheating team. So like, you're going to hold out hope to bring him back, only to be like, this is definitely a guy who was involved or at least around these Apple Watches. That makes no sense either. It's just like for a team that has Judge and Stanton and Cole and all those guys, like everyone else who's in win now mode are going like balls to the wall. Like the fucking Dodgers are ridiculous. Sorry, Freddie Freeman. The Red Sox are moving around like all superstars. They're playing fantasy baseball with like MVP type candidates, and the Yankees are just like sitting pat. That's why I just keep thinking about where each club is headed, because obviously the Mets are like 88 wins, still have a lot of work to do, even despite the high payroll. But we know that we know where the mindset of ownership is at. We know that it's like, don't give a fuck, go all out. And when the time is right, I'm almost like happy they didn't like blow their load right now, because they're not really ready. They're not totally constructed. They're not like one man away from it. I'd rather wait a couple years and continue to still be in on every free agent class and trade deadline. And then like finally, when a bunch of these guys are all in there, I mean, you gotta deal with the windows of DeGrom and Scherzer. But even with that, I'd rather like truly wait until you're really ready to be like, it's our time. Right now, the way the rest of the division and the rest of the league and all that is comprised, it's not really like the Mets' time. But I just rest assured knowing that when that might materialize, we have the right guys in place to be like pedal to the metal. Where in the past you would never think that's coming. So I just know that like, if we were in the same situation as the Yankees with the window open and a possibility, like I feel like they will do what it takes then. And that's all I've ever asked for. And if it doesn't happen, because like you said, Kyle, that's baseball, Susan. But just knowing that the people will do the right thing at the right time is all you can really ask for in ownership.
Yeah, a few months, you just see how everything pans out, how all the teams are trending, and you're like, okay, this is an issue for us. Let's go fucking all in and go get that guy on the struggling team. That's where it's won or lost anyway, is at the trade deadline when you're trying to figure out like who you're gonna fleece. And I have full respect for Billy Epler to be like, he's gonna go out there and do whatever it takes because he was working for a dickhead with the Angels. He knows he can just go get whatever he needs to, and Sandy will back him up.
Yeah, Artie Moreno is like a fake rich owner in baseball. I've realized he's not that. I always thought like the Angels were just blowing through and doing whatever they could to win, and it's like no, he goes right to the limit. It's kind of like a rich Jeff Wilpon is what he was.
The
so
Angels ended their off season after signing number 34. So
enough about those broke Bronx boys. We're gonna move on. We're gonna go on the open market here. We'll discuss, like Kev said, there's a lot of guys signed. One guy still out there, fortunately, unfortunately, depending how you look at it. So. Nick Castellanos to the Phillies. Thoughts and prayers to every big figure in Philadelphia because you guys are now on the chopping block, the angel of death. And whenever he hits a home run, that means a beloved, like Rocky, head on a swivel, fucking Donovan McNabb. I don't even know who the fuck like people in Philadelphia even like worship or love. But like I didn't want that guy near us just because New York Mets with Nick Castellanos meant some weird, funky shit was going to happen. Someone in this podcast, a fucking anvil could have dropped on their head, right? So it's like, I'll just consider it
like
here.
The Always Sunny crew better be like, head on a swivel, ready for anything like that because Castellanos. The Phillies are going to be fucking good, man. I mean, like, as much as, Uncle Stevie is the truth, and I think will be like the juggernauts for years to come, the way that Braves lineup is constructed and the way the Phillies are going after it, it's not going to be the NLE for sure. I do wonder if, like, I guess there's a chance now that Conforto slipped back to where he once was. I guess depending on the money, I guess I'd take him back. But some of those outfield bats that were available either by trade or free agency, like I'm partially wondering why we weren't in on some of that, especially when it was going to, you're going to end up at a divisional rival. But I mean, Conforto is just going to be so sad, just like so sad. Thinking about like 18 months ago being like, I'm going to get so much money. And now it's like, does anybody want me? Oh, brutal.
We'll see what contract he ends up getting. Like Boris says his agent after all, but we'll see like if we could like make a judgment like, maybe he should have stuck to qualifying offer or not. I do feel bad for him in that sense. Like I'd be pissed too. Like if I lost like near $100 million off of having one shitty season in my 7-year career.
Yeah. And like, that's the thing with Boris. I feel like either you strike it rich and you're like, holy shit, or it just gets weird. Right. And it lasts this long. We'll get into it with like the Mets side of things, but I'm officially, I'm again, this is the Uncle Stevie new era Mets, the Church of Coentology. I'm officially worried about Starling Marte. That's where I land right now on Starling Marte. Obliques are the fucking devil. It's like the worst thing ever. It's just this nagging injury. I'm worried that he's going to be hurt. We're going to have no center fielder again. And it's just going to be like, what the fuck? We have Nimmo. We have Canna. And then it's like, I thought Mets fans were being a little spoiled saying we need to get Conforto back or we need to get another bat. If Marte ends up getting hurt and then the inevitable Nimmo injury, we're back to being fucked in the outfield again. We have Dom playing left field by like day 3.
Baseball is so stupid because you look at Marte in spring training in Under Armour. The dude is like a fucking action hero. He is fucking shredded. He looks like he is cut from stone. And it just doesn't matter because you're swinging your body and you're twisting. You're doing all this weird shit. It doesn't matter like how you look. It's like, how is that guy injured by fucking playing baseball? It's the dumbest sport in the fucking world. And that has like over the, you sign him on the wrong side of 30 or whatever. He's going to be injury prone and lingering and nagging and all those words that we fucking hate. Barking. We're going to hear that all year long with Marte. That's going to be.
I just want to see Marte on the field just so we can stop with the Jed Lowrie comparisons. I just want that right out the way. Just please, just let me see him on the field in April. Just play. Yep. I don't even care how he plays this one. Just get on the field.
Yep. Yeah. And I will say this about the Phillies. So they got Schwarber too, Kev. That was, we talked about that on Friday when you were gone. But between Schwarber and like their defense is like that's another Mets defense right there.
The Phillies remind me of like when I used to play like a video game. Like I just have like all the stick hitters on a team, and then I'll just play them in positions they aren't even meant to play at. I used to have like David Ortiz as my catcher in the old MLB 2Ks because catcher defense didn't matter. It's like that's what the Phillies are.
Yep, and like Familia, he's like gonna blow like 5 saves because of that.
Yes, but baseball is a sport where like the ball finds whichever shitty defender you put out there, or if you have a weak bat, he's always up in the bottom in the ninth or whatever. But if you mash the way that lineup can potentially mash, and you've got some shitty fucking guys here, they're going to see the ball hit to them like 2 or 3 times a game. I'd rather ride with that than
we
have
saw
the
Braves had Rosario and Soler in the corners, and both those guys are huge negative defenders.
Yep.
Exactly my point. The way that baseball is moving, what everyone's complaining about, how it's all just like home run or strikeout and the shift and this and that. It's like pitching and defense, I think, really matters in the playoffs, but you got to get there first. And once you're there and everyone's great, you will have that game-losing error or that game-winning play, depending on if you're good or bad on defense. But you got to get there first. And over the course of 162, I just feel like give me all the fucking bats in the world and I'll deal with. You look at guys, it's like, the greatest defensive season ever, and he's got like 6 defensive runs saved. It's like, well, who fucking cares? Let's just mash our way to the playoffs and then let the chips fall where they may. So I know that that's. What's that?
It's good for us compared to the other teams in the NL East, though, because if it lines up the right way with DeGrom and Scherzer going against them, you're looking at like 40-plus strikeouts over the course of the series, and you're like, okay, True. If they can score as many runs as they want against everybody else, but when they play the Mets, you would assume that they're going to be feast or famine, more so.
Yeah, so
that's what you hope. That's what you're gonna live on.
We had Castellanos to the Phillies. Jansen went to the Phillies, which I feel like Jansen
went to the Braves. But
the Braves. I'm sorry.
There's some like fishy cheating the Braves do. I can't explain it. It doesn't sit right with me how they keep getting all these guys.
I always get a little wary of getting the closer who, was pitching every fucking October for years and years and years. And even in fantasy, I was like Jansen. I was like just waiting for the other shoe to drop. He get a couple injuries here and there. Soler to the Marlins. Fuck them. God, just fuck the Marlins in general. And then, like I said, the NL East was supposed to be fucking awesome last year. It was kind of a joke. But it's like, is this going to be another year where I would love to have them kind of suck again. Obviously, the Braves went on that run with like none of their star players. But at this point, I don't know. Like, I'll happily be the team that goes in with pitching and like some pretty fucking good bats, right? Like Pete's still there. Lindor comes back, and we have like a deep team, if nothing else, right now.
Yeah, just get in. That's all that matters. No one remembers the Braves won 88 games last year. They just remember them winning the title. That's it.
I am worried. I'm worried about the Braves being like fully healthy and playing up to their potential for a full season. I think the Braves are going to be good. I think that, from there on out, it'll be like, it'll be a dogfight for those wild card spots in the 3-game series and all that shit. And listen, it's all going to come down to last year. We said it came down to like, if we don't have Jacob deGrom, we're fucked. We didn't have Jacob deGrom, we were fucked. Now it's going to be Jake and Scherzer. And if those guys are good, those guys pitch to their potential, like you should be in contention as long as the offense is serviceable. If you have Lindor bounce back, if you have McNeil bounce back, if you have Pete put together a full season, you have some of these guys stay healthy, all that shit, and those guys are pitching like every 5 days like they should. Like if this was not good, like I don't know, we're still cursed because we should. I can already see.
Yeah, I can already see the division coming down to like, what's everybody's record versus the Nationals this year? Where it's like, we're 13-6 versus Nats. We did pretty good. And it's like, the Braves won 18-1 versus them. Like, and we can't control that.
You're gonna have to feast on the bad teams because these teams, like, that's exactly right.
And we didn't do that last year. We couldn't feast on anybody.
So, like you said, Kev, it's about like the guys coming back, see who's looking good, and we'll go back to Mets camp now. Kyle's boy, Dom, another fucking bomb, looking good. From allow me to be Frank fame, Pat Randazzo, he had the line that a torn labrum, right? Partially torn labrum in his shoulder. Which, I mean, we all fucking knew Dom was hurt last year. But it was like how much of it was the injury, how much of it was everything else. Saying he has like the best spring of his life, looking good.
That's also an injury where like it which just seems like you would think that anyway, but like the strength, you can't even hold the bat out straight for a certain amount of time. Like the strength of being able to swing the bat with the labrum is like it zaps your power completely. So that plus the wrist injury. And then it said that he was breaking down his swing. They were overlaying his swing with like 3 Hall of Famers. His swing is beautiful. Like he looks like Barry Bonds when he swings. So as long as he can figure it out and like find the holes where he needs to, I think he's going to be fine. And it's also one of those things where you want to see if he can bounce back.
If he's like an extra base hit machine, like he was for that, like half a season or that one season, where he was just raking doubles and bombs. I mean, that's one guy that I am treating as like a complete bonus. I'm not like I'm kind of banking on McNeil like bouncing back. I need Lindor to be closer to the real Lindor. Those things I'm kind of penciling in, because if that doesn't happen, like then we're really fucked. But Dom, I'm just gonna leave as like, I hope you were injured, and if you bounce back, that is such a nice extra piece that like I wasn't even banking on. That will be a very, very pleasant surprise for me.
You know what he is? He's DomCoin. He's like a little like a coin that you like. I just invested in him, and if he fucking hits, we are going to be rich. And if he doesn't, all right, it sucks. But like DomCoin, I'm investing in DomCoin.
I like that. Are you okay? All right, so let's go around right now. Are you investing in DomCoin, and how many units would you put on DomCoin? How much would you buy in?
I'd put 5 units on DomCoin. I have his stats like right now. He slugged 525 in 2019 in 89 games. The 60 game season he slugged 616. Then last year it was down to 363. So you could tell like a 200, 300 difference in slugging. He was brutal out there. Like you had injured. Yeah, he was injured. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
We have to like Kyle's the Dom guy. I mean, we will not take
the mortgage on the guy, but that being said,
what I don't get, I know that guys these athletes are very proud. They'll never make excuses. If I have a fucking torn labrum, you're gonna know about it. Especially once, like, I can understand playing through it and being like, I gotta make sure I get my spot on this team. There's Alonso. There's a lot of things going on. I gotta earn my money and my contract. But once I realize I fucking suck with a torn labrum and I'm getting crushed by the fans and the media, I'm telling everybody about it.
Yeah, like, look, if I'm playing to like, say, like a jammed finger or like I'm just sore or something, like, I'm not gonna say anybody. But like, if something's torn where like I could potentially need surgery, all bets are off. Like.
And I don't know.
I don't think nobody benefits from you trying to be a hero when you're that injured.
And that was the thing. The entire team suffered whenever Dom came up and just couldn't do shit. And I don't know how much of that is the front office, the medical, the player, but I feel like having Buck in the clubhouse and like a staff, that is going to get taken care of, right? Where Buck can be like, dude, you fucking suck. If you keep batting like this, you're hurting the team, you're hurting yourself, you're hurting your money. And we have a deep enough team where we can, replace him with whether it's Cano, God damn it, or JD, all these different parts we can use to fill in his spot. But like I feel like that happens. You see with teams, they keep wheeling up the guy who's clearly hurt. That does us no good. So I'm hoping Buck's going to alleviate all that. By the way, did you guys see that Buck quote when he was talking about Seinfeld and he was talking about his cameo versus Keith, having some fun with it? It just feels good to have a fucking likable manager who can get some quotes. The media likes him, and he's just going to diffuse every fucking fire with like a couple of jokes, and everything's going to be fine. And like the Mets need that, the Mets franchise need that, but the Mets fan base needed it maybe even more, because like I just feel at ease right now when I see Buck on my screen.
You know what you need, and I realized this the other day. Oddly enough, it was I think it was a hockey coach. A reporter asked him, "Are there more doors or wheels in the world? Like regular fucking internet shit going on?" If I was a manager of any team, I would just go up there and give quotes like that. Like whatever, I would have people tell me what's trending on the internet. I would make my press conferences about that, so everyone gets their bite and they get to write their articles about that instead of what happened. And we would never talk about the bad things. As soon as you ask me about bad stuff, I'd be like, yeah, but have you heard about this hypothetical on the internet? Let's talk about that, because that's all people want. They want their clicks. Give them that, and you don't have to pay attention.
Like, I'd be ticked off if, like, say, like, Trevor May blows game in the 8th inning and Buck asks a reporter, it's like, you think a hot dog is a sandwich or not? Like, no, we're talking about the game. But, like, it'll be funny on Twitter, but it'll annoy me.
No, I don't give a fuck, man. Whatever. We're not going to talk about that. Is a hot dog a sandwich? Let's go.
Like, Kev, that's a great point. Like, answer the internet just with the fucking managers, right? And it's like, is this a mermaid or a donkey? And that will and that will put all of our dumb brains at ease, because we won't be thinking about what happened in the 6th inning because we used the wrong reliever there. It's brilliant. It's brilliant.
Yeah. I could you imagine, like, it's fucking May 15th. Lindor's batting 100 again, and Buck's like, you guys hear about that dress from a few years ago? What do you guys think about that?
I think I'll know everything I need to about Buck within the first month.
Yeah.
If like it's a shitty game and he comes out and he's just like, yeah, we're just not playing very good, like just point blank blunt, then I don't have to worry. Last 2 years, it was like must-watch TV more so than the games to be like, what is this asshole going to get on TV and say now? Like, what is Rojas going to do to put his foot in his mouth to make things worse than it already is on the field? You know Buck isn't going to do that. And if he is, he's going to do it to motivate the players and be like, and call it back more so than anything else. Somebody
would play better.
No. Yes.
Play better should be his, like, anytime shit goes wrong, if you're a manager and you're just like, well, we have to play better.
It's like Belichick.
You can say that for virtually every single fucking situation. So he should just make that his mantra and ride that wave the whole season.
Print the shirts, play better.
Yeah. Print the fucking shirts, man. Play better.
Rule number 1, play better. Rule number 2, if you don't follow rule number 1, please read rule number 1. Like, that's all it is. It's that simple. It's that fucking simple. And then the other thing we had here in Mets camp, we already talked about Marte a little bit, is like McGill and Peterson. And, you know, like which one? I do feel like Peterson, like we don't have any lefties in the fucking pen. He's going to just have to make it there just because of the numbers anyway. But I think that's where he ends up. My guy, Tyler McGill, though, looking pretty good. And you know these guys are going to be needed because there's going to be at least 1, if not 2 injuries at the same time. And everything's going to just happen just because that's the way baseball is, Susan. But I don't know, man. I think we're all McGill. Are we all McGill right now?
Yeah.
If you had to choose between the two?
Best 6 starter in baseball.
It does feel weird though. Like I always look whether it's my base, like obviously the Mets, or I'm like putting together a, you know, fucking 2K team or whatever. I always like having one lefty. I always just like having one lefty starter. It is very weird. We have 5 right-handers right now, right? Like that. I just don't like that. I like having the one guy, even if he's the 4. Even when Max was like kind of mad, it was like, well, he's the lefty, of course. And
we tried having a lefty starter. We gave Steven Matz a good contract, and then we got Max Scherzer.
And unleashed hell.
I'll ride with the righties, man. Let's talk about Jacob deGrom trying to order a fucking pizza. What the fuck was that about? That story was ridiculous. What is this? What pizza place down in Port St. Lucie doesn't know Jacob deGrom, and how can you mix up that pizza? He said, you have a pizza for deGrom? They said no. He comes back later and says, oh, it was under Jacob. How does the pizza place fuck that up? How does deGrom not say, like, yeah, no, you do have a pizza for me, bro? And then I heard he was vacuuming the fucking clubhouse. Like, I'm going to need Jacob deGrom to start to act like the best pitcher of all time off the field because he's being a big pussy off the field, and it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. I need to know deGrom's 1 bite review for that place.
Yeah, really. Give me a score, Jake. Jesus, that guy.
He's the guy who finally gets the pie and it's freezing cold and he doesn't say anything to them either. He's just like, and walks out.
Absolutely. That pizza was like 2 hours old and he just went home and was like, it's okay. And then he fucking cleans up the clubhouse after the rookies too. It's not making any sense, Jacob.
And this is the thing. I like when it's like, you know, the common man player, like remember when Dak Prescott threw out a cup and everyone was jerking off about it for like weeks and weeks and weeks. That's fine. Football players, basketball players, baseball players are the one fucking like athlete on earth that get injured in the dumbest ways. I don't need to hear Jacob deGrom has a blister because he burnt his hand on the bottom of a pie of pizza or he hurt his back vacuuming under the fucking couch or something like that. And that is where the fucking season unravels, is with Jake. Jake, this entire season is on his right arm. I do not need to see that. So he doesn't have to, like, fucking people at Barstool don't even get their food. They like be like, oh, go, you know, Snyder, go get me like a coffee. I don't need Jacob fucking deGrom getting his own pizza. And I love the guy, but please, Jacob, just stay in the fucking
we can go a step further. 2 years ago, remember Zach Wheeler missed a few starts because he tore his fingernail, like zipping his jeans up. Fucking Jake needs someone to put his pants on for him.
I'll put him on. I'll suck him off and I'll put his pants on.
I will absolutely. I will dress. I will bathe. I will pleasure Jacob deGrom. I will do everything for him, dude. Like, we need a full 35 out of you, bro. We don't do anything other than sleep, eat, and pitch. That's it. Nothing else. No vacuuming. No driving. Stay out of the car. I don't know. I don't know how we can get him to and from. But We're not doing any more car accidents. We're not fucking flipping cars. We're not vacuuming. We're not behind pizza. We're just pitching. That's it.
Yeah.
I'll go down to Port St. Lucie. I'll just carry him everywhere. If that's what needs to be done,
Yeah.
I can just carry him like he's my child.
Like, you know, when like you put a sultan on those things and you like walk around with him, we're gonna do that. We'll carry him everywhere he goes.
Yeah, throw a crown on him like Macho Man. Macho Man did that once at like the Royal Rumble or something like that. That's how Jake needs to be.
Like, oh, I'm gonna opt out at the end of the year. It's like, yeah, okay, Jacob. He's gonna be like, can I please have a raise? And they're like, yeah, here's an extra $5 million. It's like, okay, thanks.
Yeah, for real. I'm almost like now when I see that, like you vacuum your own clubhouse. This negotiation is gonna be no problem. They're gonna be like, yeah, here, you know, like, yeah, here's a little bump up. They'll be like, okay, sounds good.
Here, $50 million right up front.
God said that he's just like not a prima donna. He's the best player you could ask for, and he'll say thank you at the end of the day when you fuck him on a contract.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah, it'll be a shame at the end of the day if he doesn't win a title. But and some of the injuries and shit have stopped him from having like the full greatest season of all time. But really, when you look at his demeanor, his contract, and his performance when he's healthy, it's probably like the best signing in the history of like sports. Like that level of play at that level of money and his level of ease to like manage and be around and all that shit. He is like he's like manufactured like in your dreams. It's crazy.
And he's just ours, and we just like got him. Him and David Wright just like fell in our laps. It's banana land. I still can't believe I got to pinch myself that's even a thing. So yeah, he'll definitely get like a $50 million offer. He's like, honey, I don't know, like maybe I should just take 40, and then we could spend that other 10 on like, you know, I need to have the good defense, because this guy has also been burnt by the Mets more than any fucking player in franchise history. All those 1-0, 2-1 losses that he's had along the way too. So. Shout out, Jake. And then one last piece of housekeeping in terms of around the league. Baseball's bringing back the extra innings speed up rule potentially because the pitchers not being able to go deep early in the shortened spring. So
look, I don't care how unpopular it is. Extra inning baseball with the Ghost Runner. Ghost Runners are the best thing ever. Thank you, Manfred.
Yep. It's weird because I, on the one hand, admit it's a complete joke. I think it's ruining like the purity and the integrity of the game. On the other hand, I can't do 14-inning baseball. So even if it's a loss, let's just fucking get this over with. I'm fine.
No, because there's nothing more like deadening than 1, 2, 3 inning in a 12th, a 1, 2, 3 in a 13th, and where you're just like trying to go to bed at that point, like sleep through it. It's like at least with this extra inning rule, there's action every extra inning. That's fun to me.
Right. And when you're watching like the 16th inning and you've got like position players pitching and you got these scrubs pinch hitting and it's like no one's ever gonna fucking score a run.
Yeah.
Like let's just keep it moving. I'm fine.
It's only for regular season. Playoffs, it's like perfect real baseball. I'm fine with gimmicks in the regular season. That's the regular season.
Yeah, it's kind of like when hockey made the change in overtime, right? And everyone was freaking out about a tradition.
Everyone loves 3-on-3 in hockey.
Yep, everyone's cool with it now. It's just one of those things. And listen, I kind of that was the biggest thing that got me over the DH thing because I was one of the people that liked no DH in the National League because it was different. And I do like the strategy where it's like, do you keep your starter in now in the 6th or do you pull him? But at this point, like no starter goes longer than 6 anyway, so you're like missing an at bat or two. It didn't mean shit. So that kind of got me over the DH. So.
No, you think that they're adding this
the
back
DH, put the fucking runner on third. Just load the bases.
Loaded
and just fucking end this shit.
Yeah, they're not adding this back in to help any pitcher's arms. They're going, let's just keep shoving this down baseball fans' throats until they get comfortable enough with it. And then when it comes back up next time for the collective bargaining, we're just going to throw it in. And people will be like, you know what? I did enjoy going to bed at 12:30 instead of 3 o'clock in the fucking morning.
Yeah, exactly.
And bring back 7-inning doubleheaders, you fucking scumbags. We are pro 7-inning doubleheaders on this podcast.
Yeah, Rob Manfred was doming when he did that.
Also, before we wrap it up,
what's up?
Before we wrap it up, Barstool the Ballpark tickets are available. Actually, in the past, it was Mets.com/Barstool. I don't think that's the link this year. So just go to the Gotta Believe Pod Twitter or We Gotta Believe on Instagram, and we'll post the link. There's, I think, 6 different outings, including game against the Phillies, game against the Braves, game against, depends. I put the Padres on there so people could see Tatis, but that may not happen. Let's real quickly talk about that Jared Kelenic clip. because one of the games is against the
Oh.
Mariners. That clip of Jared Kalenic talking about Juan Segura's baby is one of the craziest videos to hit the internet. And it was taken a little bit out of context, but if you watch the whole thing, it's not much better. I don't know what the Mariners were thinking doing that. That was fucking crazy.
Very out of pocket. I don't see how it gets posted.
That, you know what? I mean, we've called in the past, Meek, we've called the Mariners Mets West, and that was a very Metsy thing to do.
That's Mets West stuff, yes.
Yeah, that's Mets behavior. So there's a game against the Mariners. So a bunch of division rivals plus some of the stars you will see. So go to the social media and you can buy the tickets today. You get your ticket to the game and you get unlimited beer from 1 hour prior to first pitch through the alcohol cutoff. It's the best deal in sports. Go get it.
It's the best deal in sports. If you just want a pregame and you don't want to watch baseball, let alone the fact you get a baseball ticket, we're going to be, it's officially, we're branding it Cohen's Corner. We got to get some fucking Uncle Stevie head cutouts. We're going to just make that his fucking corner. You get some food and you just get we're all going to try to get there. We'll get all the Barstool personalities there as well. I remember Kate went to a couple games. She had a blast. Large is looking to get there. I think a lot of people are looking to get now. They can actually get out of the fucking house and get there and have some fun. So it's honest. It's like a ridiculous deal. I don't understand how it's possible that we do it, but we do it and they go fast. Once these tickets are sold out, they're going to be gone. So get them now or forever hold your peace. And subscribe to the YouTube. Yep. Obviously, subscribe to the YouTube. We're building the YouTube. Shout out Mikey Paz for fucking killing it with all the graphics and everything on the podcast. And we'll see you guys on Thursday, right? Thursday. See you guys then. Hopefully nothing crazy in the meantime here. So that's all you got to do from here on out. We just hope everything's good. No fucking more oblique shit. Nothing else. No little twinges. No fucking blisters on pizza pies. And at the end of the day, with this team, with this ownership, with this fucking group, you got to believe.
Gotta believe.